Fucking fine. You know what? Fine. I'll go back to fucking Kakariko.
Hey, you need 10 rupees.
I just
Thank you, Navi.
I just thought I would drop
You're
in
so fucking smart.
after
Time for next time on Game
the
Grumps.
disaster.
Yeah.
My mic was off the whole time for the last one, but I just thought it'd be nice to preface it with this. Just kind of give you a glimpse if you haven't seen. There we go.
The only people who will be mad are the 200 people who are always mad.
Here comes Danny's passive aggressivism.
You know what? I love them. They're the best at being mad.
I wonder what I could do to make him happy.
You can fucking learn how to play this game and shut up.
Anyway, that's enough of that. On to the matter at hand. Let's go back to playing the game. So anyway, I went through Jabba Jabba, and I had a lot to say, and I'll probably come back to it, but oh Christ, I can't believe the microphone is on. Jesus Christ. Oh, nothing really. Don't be shy. Fish, where would you even put it? I don't want to see. Interspecies romance. Make it stop. I wonder if that would even be like a proper thing to happen in the Zelda universe whatsoever. If it would create an abomination. But here's our last spiritual stone. So we're closing in on the end of the child leak sequence. And when I really think about it, this is one trope of Zelda that I definitely don't enjoy. Just to get the 3 things, get the Master Sword, and then, oh no, parallel dimension, get 5 to 7 more things. It started with Link to the Past, and it's carried over to every Zelda, with the exception of Breath of the Wild. But here we are back at Zora's Fountain. And there's going to be one gold Skulltula that you can only get at night that's specific to this area. But since the Sun Song will just spawn us back at where we were, we'll just be right here, and it's most convenient to get that right now. So we'll climb up this here. And again, I apologize about not having audio in the last video. So basically, I just put some smooth jazz over it. And I don't even know if it's going to go the whole duration of the video, but I had no choice. Oh, no. I had to cool off for a little bit. It wasn't necessarily... I didn't lose progress, but just... It's like the feeling I had when I did my first Majora video, where I forgot to merge the audio tracks in the MP4 file. And, God, I'm so angry, but I'm glad I was able to salvage that one, but there's no going back on that one because the mic wasn't even on. But now this is where Ruto will be perched from here on out. Did my most precious possession help in your quest? Tee hee hee. And there's an interesting little Easter egg if you come back here with the, while you're wearing the, oh, thank you, per se. I really appreciate it. And to his knowledge, you didn't get dick, because he doesn't know that you have the spiritual stone or anything. It's like, Erin wants to talk about the Gorons being highly unlikable, but in this game, honestly, I find the Zoras to be highly unlikable. The king is a big, fat, pompous bastard who just wants you to be his errand boy with no reward whatsoever. But anyway, I'm just, okay, getting off track just because I'm talking. So we'll go, walk around a little bit faster. But we're just going to wrap things up. This is basically the end game for you getting to be adult Link. So we're just going to grab the last few items that we can grab whilst being a child. If I remember correctly, the first thing we can get now is this. This is never used again, so this is not intuitive at all. That you're able to grab a heart piece with the boomerang. It may apply in other sections of the game. You may in fact be able to do that. But to my knowledge, that's not how it works. So I think, yeah, the best thing to do, so we want that Skulltula that we couldn't get in the Deku area, and we also want to go back and put the bugs in all the holes and then plant all the beans where needed. And there are some really unnecessary bean plant placements that have like rupee drops and stuff. Some of it just leads straight to Skulltulas, and again, going back to that Lake Hylia one being the most necessary. I'm fairly certain that I got the, yeah, I did. So just immobilize you. Can't have any right now. Just want to be I just don't want to be hindered in any way by you guys, so I'll just get rid of you. Go down here, and I'm pretty positive that I got that, because that's just how I'd play. So we'll plant this one, and that will let us get a Skulltula later on. And like these scrubs down here, I don't know what the reaction is to the bunny hood. I don't think it's positive. Sometimes they reward you, and sometimes they outright attack you. The scrubs are kind of an enigma in this game. Like, some of them are good, or some of them are evil. It seems like they kind of go both ways. And they're not pleased. No, they don't like bunny rabbits. But yeah, we're here, so we'll just kind of through here. There's a heart piece that you can get as Child Link. Okay, is this bringing us? No. So okay, yeah, we go straight. We go through here. There is an upgrade for the Deku Nuts here at the end of this path. We're going to get that. We're going to see a lot of wandering around and meandering here, so feel free to scrub through the video as you please. Yeah. And again, another point that I agree with on Erin is that none of these holes really lead to anything except for a chest and some consumables like bugs and fish, and they're all the same in design. The grottos aren't interesting in this game. And Majora's Mask, they fix that. Every grotto, for the most part, there are some repeating grottos, but for the most part they vary. So I think this is just a 5 rupee piece that's hidden in a boulder, and it kind of sucks that once you get rid of that, it kind of removes that landmark. Hopefully this doesn't lead out of here. Okay, so here's our grotto with our Deku scrub. It's gonna upgrade our Deku Nut drops. God, I hate that I lost all of that commentary. It was, I think that was probably one of my better ones. Of course, we'll never know. I'm pretty. I surrender. Okay, give me the Deku Nut upgrade. So I will definitely be making more utility of that as Adult Link, especially to prove that the stealth and stuff are so much easier to handle with Deku Nuts. So we got all those. We'll go back to the beginning, and we'll plant the bean at the beginning of the forest, which, if memory serves me, doesn't really do anything. It kind of like gives you a shortcut from the Lost Woods onto the bridge, which I guess if the developers were thinking about it, is a good way to go if you're doing the big Goron quest, trying to get to this area quickly. But considering that the plants, once they mature, they just kind of hover in the air, it's actually, I'll test that out because I've never tried it before. It actually would just be faster just to go this way and then go out instead of jumping to the bridge directly. But anywho, now I'm pretty positive I forgot to get this at all. And then there's a Skulltula behind the Know-It-All Brothers house that I just didn't get because I never was here at night. Okay, so we'll try to get this one here in case I forgot. And I like that there's that tone there that lets you know you did it good. Yeah. And really, another gripe that I have with Ocarina of Time is there's no real gap in damage. When you hit something, it's either going to take a quarter, half, whole, or like 4 to 5 hearts damage. And you clicked all the spiritual, and let's go back to Hyrule Castle, so now we know that. One of the big missteps in the Game Grumps playthrough is once they have all the spiritual stones, and they know they need to go back to the castle, they just completely disregard that with conversation with Borgabora. The one instances where he is useful is where he carries you back down off locations before you have warp songs. and gives you shortcuts. But they completely disregard that and walk away from Cape or Gabora as he soars off, which would take them directly to their goal. Anyway, so we can get the Skulltula here and actually get the Skulltula emblem for this particular dungeon map. Die. Okay, let's back out. And this is actually, it's impossible, like, if you've seen this wall, and you originally think, oh, I can get through here because I have bombs. Well, it's impossible to get that Skulltula up on the wall without the boomerang. So if you don't wait until the absolute very end of the child sequence, coming into this room becomes a chore. Okay, it kind of blended in with the textures there. Grab this guy. There are a couple of Skulltula holes that you can exploit, because if you grab the Skulltula and jump immediately out of, like, say, a grotto, if there's a grotto with a Skulltula inside, I could have used Fail's Wind to get out of here quicker, but oh well. It doesn't really register that you've collected said Skulltula, so it assumes you don't have it and it respawns it. Same thing happens if you kill a Skulltula and don't collect the token at all, and that's to make sure that the Skulltula is not barred from you being able to get it, which is good. But at the same time, they didn't have that foresight with planting the beans, I don't think. I'm not going to test it because I'm not going to risk not having enough to get all the Skulltula rewards of the first 5 anyway. Up the vines we go. Oh, and if you place an online to-go order for Red Robin right now, it's 20% off your whole order for takeout. So not only do you not have to tip, sorry for any waiters or waitresses out there, not only do you not have to tip, you don't have to wait to get seated, and you get 20% off all through the end of this month. Hashtag not a promotion. Let's see. What else can I do? Should have done these things in sequence. There was that skip there where it loaded in the entirety of Kokiri Forest there. And it's really crazy to think that 4 extra megabytes of RAM was enough to stop that loading in between zones in Majora's Mask when compared to this game. Just that extra little bit of memory. And I wish developers besides Nintendo would do more to make the most of their resources, because you see like big jumps like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One, and I'm primarily a PC gamer. I understand that consoles are always kind of going to be behind the trend, but you see these massive jumps in performance, or rather hardware that's at your disposal for companies like Microsoft and Sony, and they don't nearly have as much of a bump per se. I did another dumb thing, but this will give me an opportunity to... No, I want the wallet first. I'm doing so many things out of sequence. We'll just kind of count this as a throwaway episode, but here again, by going back to my Majora's Mask playthrough, these things are terrifying and they take so many hits, and I can't really think of a particularly good strategy to fight them. Let's see what the Deku Nuts do to them. Never tried this. They don't do damage, they don't do anything. Jesus. Maybe the boomerang. There we go. Let's just get away from you, because really the risk reward's not really there. And the texture work hasn't been redone, but those are eyes. I've just now noticed on the PS. Those are eyes all over it. Definitely need to go back to the 3DS remake and see if they kind of animate those eyes. That's terrifying. There's a heart piece down here, but if we do that, that'll lead us straight to there. So what we want to do is, and this is an area that's completely locked off to you, almost entirely, and that'll actually work out well for us. I'll tell you what, we'll go and get this heart piece that's here for sale. I think it sells it for like 10 rupees, and there's a parallel of that Majora's Mask, but of course they charge much more. But there's the fact that you're able to find this hole. I think that they thought that 10 rupees was enough of a hurdle. Yeah, I can climb over the sides there. Just go ahead and grab that heart piece from here. And of course, I think you can do this as an adult as well. But they, when you become adult Link, they do a good job of making you feel powerless, even though that you are older, because they take away a lot of your basic items, just like your, and it really isn't explained particularly well, in my opinion, why they say you can't use the slingshot, you can't use the boomerang. It feels honestly like a MacGuffin, like a way for them to make you get more dungeon items, because honestly, why can't adult Link throw a boomerang? He does in other games. Why can't adult Link shoot a slingshot? Dumb things like that. P-hats have an enormous aggro range. Like, that thing saw me coming from all the way over here. That's insane. So yeah, we're just gonna bypass him. And K-Por Gabora, thankfully, kind of vanishes once you have all 3 spiritual stones. Because if you're going out of where you're supposed to be... Oh, yeah, it's launching babies. If you go out of where you're supposed to be going, it's like, hey, you should turn around. But now that you're just kind of free to explore and roam, and that's good. I think there's a Skulltula hole or something here. Don't recall what's in this grotto in particular. Again, I'm not a fan of Hyrule Field at all. There's just a lot of wandering to be done, and not a whole lot of rewards are yielded. But what is in this hole? Well, damn it. There's no way to get through this unless you have fire arrows. God. And that's definitely a moment I can agree with. From the not having... or maybe it's the state of mind that I'm in. My frustrated state. Where I agree that a puzzle's not truly a puzzle unless you have all the pieces. You know you need fire, but okay, we'll just bring fire back later, so... Okay, I'll just go ahead and backpedal immediately, because it goes against what I'm saying, but it's better designed to have another way to do it. Not even just a way around what the game intends for you to do. Okay, so like this. And I think we can actually fight the current here without the iron boots and just go straight on forward. But I'm going to do something funny here. Just for your amusement. Let's see. Swan dive straight into the... No. Shit. I didn't mean to do that at all. I don't know if I can fight this current hard enough. I wanted to dive head first into that and take that 1 heart of damage. I like that they fixed that in Breath of the Wild, where when you fall from a great height, it's determined by the inertia, and the physics engine decides how much damage you take depending on how far you fall. But regardless of how far you fall, and easily that's a deadly fall, you'll take 1 heart of damage, so there's no real risk, you know, to taking that fall from the top of that bridge down here, even if you swan dive head first into it. Okay. And before it starts up, I just want to say that from out of every melody in Ocarina of Time, Gerudo Valley is my favorite. And I don't think it comes back again in any others. It's another one of those that doesn't come back, but it's highly memorable. Why'd you come all the way down here? What? You were just about to ask me the same thing? Well, now that you're here, you might as well make the best of things. Well, you're awfully optimistic. But yeah, there's a heart piece right here. And, since I'm essentially screwing around at this point, I want to come back and see what all these have to say. We can just kind of think of this as a throwaway video that you're fully entitled to skip. Because it's essentially me just being an errand boy, just kind of wrapping up all the loose ends before all this becomes locked off from me temporarily when I become an adult. Already collected 2 pieces. But I think the only thing that I can... Oh, I didn't plant the bean. Okay, I'll plant the bean. How many Skulltulas do we have? We have enough to get the big wallet. That was my big... the main thing I wanted to do is make sure I had enough to get the wallet. Because aside from the heart piece, But really, there aren't that many more enticing rewards to be had from the Skulltula quest. But this will actually get you back up there, and this is another useful one if you do happen to fall. Just gonna dive, and we'll make our way back to the Hylia River. And once we're down there, that'll put us in a good spot. We've already caught the biggest fish from the pond, so there's nothing to gain there. And you can bypass the entire Moblin section of the Lost Woods Meadow by having the Pierre as an asset, having the Scarecrow song. So I definitely want to make sure I remember the little 2-note melody that I came up with as my Scarecrow song. Okay, so let's go over here and just kind of remind myself. So it's just down, it's right in several downs. Okay, better write that down, kids. There's no way to get up there till the bean sprout thing comes up. We want to go back to Kakariko Village and plant that particular bean sprout. Making a couple mental notes here about what we don't do and don't have. We'll just go ahead and accelerate this to night so we can get the Skulltula on the back of the laboratory here. Just make this a little bit easier. There's less trial and error with the boomerang. Capture this guy. So we have more than enough Skulltulas. You can also go ahead and purchase a blue fire from a shop if you can hold 300 rupees. That's another good reason to have the Giant's Wallet, on top of, you know, you not wasting rupees as you pick them up, because you just don't have enough space. And this has always been an interesting little texture here. Like, what did this? I'm sure that when this game was in 64DD development, that there was going to be some kind of a lake monster here that actually comes out in the that would be a really cool way to end the water temple. The Morpheal as a boss, especially as difficult as the water temple is a very unsatisfying boss. A boss that does a lot of damage, and if you don't know what you're doing, can really overwhelm you. But it would have been so cool to just have like something like the water to fill back up, and suddenly you're transported here, and then all of a sudden something just erupts from this lake. That would have been some nice foreshadowing. But this will go ahead and trigger the cutscene that gives us the Ocarina of Time. And this is the one instance where I'm glad. What are you doing? You've come a long way to get up here. Well, I'm obviously here for a reason. You should look at the map subscreen sometimes. And that's the game just kind of calling you out for, like, dogging you for exploring and wanting to explore. And I think it's a little cheap, and I guess this is just that the dialogue can't be altered after the fact. I've noticed that a lot of dialogue trees, they just aren't affected after the fact, after a first interaction. Yeah, so let's go back to the castle. Again, kind of creating a loss of immersion. It'll take us directly back to the castle and immediately initiate that cutscene. And this is where the big turning point is, and boom, there we go. And it's that way that transition works. It seems like it's not meant to be that way, because the game kind of hung for a second. Don't know why the skybox wasn't retextured for the cloud. Seems like that would be an easy one to do. And it's always a little bit strange because cutscene has to take place at night. I suppose the coding wasn't sophisticated enough to really pick up on that. That, you know, it couldn't have, like, waited for the night or just happened at any particular time. But it has to match up with the dream sequence, I guess. Just to kind of lean up with the whole thing that you're having prophetic dreams or what have you. Okay, no, I was kind of waiting for the horrifying texture to pick up, but here we get our first taste of Ganon, really, our really first interaction, and it kind of just sets up the, once you realize that Ganondorf has the upper hand, just makes you seem so weak and powerless that, you know, oh, I lost her. You over there, young boy. Yeah, I saw him go that way. What would you do in this situation? Let's pretend again that we're that 10-year-old boy. Me personally, I don't know if I would have done what Link's about to do. But if they'd kept this up throughout the rest of the game, this would have created a nice little antagonist-protagonist dynamic between the two of them. Because that Ganondorf's theme has always brought chills up on the back of my neck, and that's definitely the theme that carries over from A Link to the Past. Whenever you encounter Aghanim and Ganondorf respectively. I am Ganondorf. Huh! And just kind of see him right off, and just kind of, and his model immediately vanishes, and I think there's some fog that's been taken out of this up-res that kind of, because you can still hear him galloping. I love that the texture's still a smile, like, well, that was nice, little shock therapy. I'm feeling much less tense, but I wonder what Navi has to say about this. What's that? At least it didn't say something completely retarded. But now we have the Ocarina of Time, which completely replaces Saria's, the fairy's Ocarina, which, I don't know, like, it's funny. I don't know if it was ever brought up, but they never seem to really address the fact that you just kind of discard Saria's little keepsake, supposedly your best friend in the whole wide fucking world. You kind of just throw her Ocarina in the trash. But of course, the Ocarina of Time is the game's namesake and has more mystical properties or whatever. But it seems to me like they both have the same properties. I mean, I guess for the sake of inventory space, they had to get rid of it, but at the same time, it devalues a little bit the relationship between Saria and Link, for what little value that it did have to begin with, which is almost none. You've learned the Song of Time. I like that in Majora's Mask they kind of underscore each song with this makes you feel this way or that way, or it just kind of it sort of matter-of-factly, nonchalantly says you've learned this song. It doesn't tell you particularly what it does or what it's used for. And in a game that's all about telling, it's funny that it doesn't do that here. We want this 20 rupee piece drop. Well, no, let's forget about it. Here now this actually activates the moment that you have bombs, that you're able to do the bomb shoot bowling alley, and this is your first opportunity to pick up the bomb chew, which is kind of a throwaway. Here it's used for a couple puzzles, but it has more combat utility and is much more. There's like a limited amount of them in the game, but the game gives them to you whenever you need them for puzzles, but there's a limited amount of them in this game, so there's less room for experimentation with them, and they're just such a cool weapon. It's an automatic bomb that runs on a path, and then depending on the angle that you shoot it, has its own little physics engine. It's one of the cooler weapons in the game, and I hate that there's a finite amount of them in the game to be acquired. I keep looking down at this mic to see if it's on. I'm just so terrified that it is. And if you'll talk to everyone in the town now, they've obviously seen what's happened. But here's the bomb tube bowling alley. Being in retail, is it 30 rupees per play? Here's what we can win. Okay, basically we can essentially win our money back with some interest. Now, I've never ever liked this minigame. It feels a little cheap at times. It's hard to predict the bomb choose physics, especially since this is technically your introductory introduction to the bomb chew. You don't know how it's going to behave relative to where you are, the angle that you do it, and it's charging you money to do it, and it feels a little unfair. Every time, I'm never full. It gives you 10 bomb chews, but even so, that doesn't. At times, it doesn't feel like enough. But that's the nature of the game. And there's of course this one giant cuckoo that, and you have to wait for the cuckoo to wake up before you can attempt to give it another go. And of course, it's gonna rock right into my path right as it goes through. Okay, so now we'll give our money back and another chance to play. Someone's trying to FaceTime me. I absolutely must finish this video before I... Okay, so here's what we can win. What I really want is the biggest bomb chew bag and the heart piece. The other are just throwaway items. Like, it'll give you bombs and bomb chews. I guess the number that you can get isn't finite, really, when you think about it. If you want to keep spamming this game, you can... mini game, you can keep getting more and more bomb chews. If that's just something you want. Now there's that merchant in the desert. Scratch what I said. At face value, there are limited numbers of bomb chews in the game. Don't you fucking do it. Don't you fucking do it. This is really infuriating. Just no. See, it just seems so unfair. I feel like no matter what, the cuckoo kind of senses that the bomb chew is in a forward motion. Motherfucker! Okay. You got this, man. And then here comes the little one. You both can eat my ass. What's the best time to do this? Just get out of the way. Just don't you dare. Just let it go in the hole. Okay. Okay, so here we got our first bomb chew. But what I really want is the heart piece and the bomb bag. This is a completely throwaway weapon, completely there for experimentation. Here's what you can win. Heart piece, okay. I bet that I don't have enough rupees though to play for the bomb bag. Which is fine, I'll just come back to it in a second. Ah, here comes another fun one. Turn. Ah, shit. There we go. That was complete log because it totally missed its mark. But okay, now we've got 6. Let's just go ahead and lay this down. And of course, the big chicken's gonna turn and get hit. Fuck me running. I despise this minigame. I really do. 10 out of 10. Best game ever. Make sure you turn around. Okay, so now we got our heart piece, and I think we're out of rupees. It sucks because the main reason I came here was to get the bomb bag, but fuck. I'd love to play again. You don't have enough monies. 3 rupees, I can easily go get that. But let's go get Dense Fires first so that we're not just sitting in this mini game. I would love to see Hyrule Castle kind of detextured. There's a 5 rupee drop up here somewhere. Maybe you get it from jumping. Nope. I would love to see this detextured, just to kind of see what kind of polygons there are for you to interact with here. But here's your only reason to return to Hyrule Castle again. The Great Fairy on top of Death Mountain told you to come here, and this is where you get probably one of my favorite... No, it is my favorite power in the game. It's so overpowered, especially when you have the double Magimeter's Dense Fire. It takes out waves of enemies, completely makes the spin attack moot. And oh, you can use Dense Fire on that Skulltula. I'm getting so overwhelmed with things to do. I think I might just jump into adulthood, just to kind of cut everything short. Because if I keep going back and thinking to myself, oh, I need to do this and oh, I need to do that, I mean, there's no sense of urgency here at all to do these things. So. No sense of urgency at all, because even though we've established that Hyrule Castle's been attacked, it's pretty much over and done with. So now we get Dense Fire. she really wants to talk to me. I don't want to cut another one short. So just take this and... I think I'll cut this one a little bit short so I can talk to my girlfriend. Playing Ocarina of Time is not nearly as important as your friends and family members, in case you needed to be told that. So we'll just get this. You can use Din's fire not only to attack, but also to burn things. Okay, so we'll just cut it short there and see what she needs.